Good evening, everyone. If you're tuning in on YouTube or in the Ellie's Gift Facebook group, my name's Katie, and I'm here to give you an hour of relaxation. So this evening, we're going to be using the breath as a way of relaxing and focusing on the movement of the breath within the body. So I think I'll just start with a little bit of a sort of breakdown of the session. So whilst I do this, by all means, just get yourself comfortable, set yourself up. So that could be sitting or lying or even standing, moving around. There are no sort of, don'ts. Whatever works for you, really. That's the important thing. You might want to make sure you've got a blanket, maybe, or a drink nearby to keep hydrated. Okay, so I'll be starting the session with just a little bit of an introduction to the theme, like I usually do. Then we'll do a meditation. It's going to be a breath-based body scan. And then there'll be a short break. I'll leave my camera on, but by all means go and, pop to the loo or get yourself another drink or whatever you need. Another blanket or some cushions maybe. And then I'll carry on with another meditation. And we'll be using some imagery, using the sea in the meditation, specifically a boat. So I'll tell you more about that at the time. And then if we have time, I'll be sharing some music with you, some classical music. Yeah, actually it's more acoustic music really, but it's classical guitar. And then that should bring us to the end of the session. Okay, so that said, I'll just give you a few moments just to make sure you've got everything you need. And I'll just introduce the theme. Okay, so this session, we'll be using the breath, as I mentioned. So we're going to be calming our body and coming into touch with our body through focusing on the movement of the breath within it. The breath is with us all the time, day and night, and it acts as a barometer for our mood. So when we're stressed and we're up in our heads with our minds whirring, our breath can become really short and shallow. And then as we trigger the sympathetic nervous system, that can become a sort of feedback loop, and we can become more stressed with more anxiety. So the breath is very much involved in that process. However, when we are relaxed and when we're calm, our breath can become sort of lower in the body. It can become deeper. It can become more rhythmic. Our parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. And then we get that sort of feedback loop whereby everything becomes more calming and relaxing. And we move into that state, sometimes called rest and digest, where the body can really sort of repair itself, if you like. So we're going to be exploring the breath in this session and how we can sort of almost train ourselves to sort of move into this more of a relaxation response, if you like, as opposed to a sort of more stressed, heady, mind-based response. So in the first settling meditation, which is a breath-based body scan, we'll explore the breath as it journeys in and out of the body, seeking out the places where it's expressed in the movement and seeing how we can harness it to help us calm and recenter. Then we'll have a short break, and then we'll return to do the guided sort of visualization, in which we're going to use a boat as a metaphor for the breath. Okay, so I'm going to set myself up. I'll be lying down for this meditation. So by all means, set yourself up to be as comfortable as possible, lying back or reclining in a chair. Maybe if you've got a lower back problem, you might want to put some cushions underneath your knees. Just make sure you feel really supported, and you're not sort of straining to hold yourself up throughout either of these meditations. Okay. Okay, so make sure you can still see me pretty well. I'm floating on water for this evening's meditation. Okay. Okay, so I'd like to start this meditation just with the usual sort of piece about, for any stage you feel, it's not working for you, you don't want to focus on the breath, you might be feeling a little sort of anxious or it's just not working, then by all means, turn down my guidance, open your eyes if you had your eyes shut, reorientate back into your space. If you want to stay in the meditation, sometimes people find it useful to sort of focus on their hands, or even their feet, or even their weight, the weight of their body as it sort of rests on the surface beneath. And they really sort of tune into that contact and that sense of sort of solidity and groundedness. So that might work for you. And then you might want to return to my guidance, or you might not. Let's make this experience work for you. Okay, so I'll start with a short poem, and then I'll start the guidance. Okay. So this poem is called Breathe Deeply, and it's by a poet called Nina Hayen. Let your body sink into the arms of silence, the deep solace of a soul at peace. Stop the world for just one moment and inhale the soothing still. Rest your mind for just one instant and let your breath steer you home. Okay, so settling down, feeling those contact points with your body where it contacts, meets that surface below. So I'll guide this as if you're lying, and if you are sitting, then by all means, just adjust the guidance to suit you and make it work for you. Okay, so just really tuning in to your bodily sensations. So coming out of the head and down into the body and into the senses of the body. So the sense of touch. What can you feel touching the skin of your body at the moment? Or what sensations in terms of pressure or texture? What are your sense receptors picking up at the moment? So I can feel the softness of my t-shirt. I can feel the temperature on my face, on the skin of my face, on my hands. I can feel the weight of my body And the sort of sense of comforting pressure as it sort of releases into the surface below. So yeah, the head. Let's bring the attention to the head and feel the weight of the head as it rests back on the pillow if you're lying. Really feel into that sense of weightedness and being supported. And then allowing your awareness to flow down through your neck, into your upper back, and feeling the backs of your shoulders supported by that surface, held. And moving down the back to the middle back. What sensations can you feel here? We're just doing a very brief checking in with the body with those contact points. Can you feel the base of your back touching the surface beneath, maybe the sofa or the bed or even the floor? What does that weightedness feel like if you can? Does it feel stabilizing maybe, or grounding? That idea of the earth beneath us, supporting us. This gravitational field, it's literally holding us to it, but gently, it's gently holding us. Moving the attention down into the buttocks, and then into the legs, the backs of the legs. So they might be outstretched, they might be bent at the knee. Then finally down to the feet. Feeling the soles of the feet, or maybe the heels of the feet, in contact with the surface below. Okay, so just having a general overview, a general awareness of the body now. Is there any sense of holding, perhaps? That we did that very brief scan downwards. Are there any areas, perhaps, you were aware of when we went down, or you're aware of now that might be holding or tensing? Maybe sort of subtly holding and fighting against gravity. If there are, maybe just allowing your awareness to settle on those areas. And then gradually, maybe they'll release and let go, maybe not. I think a big thing with meditation is some people do it to try and get a result, and they try and force a result. And it's not really about that. It's just about being aware of what's here. And then sometimes, just as a byproduct of becoming aware, we can just become more relaxed. It sort of happens as a secondary thing. But we're not trying to sort of chase relaxation, if you like. Okay, so let's tune in now to the breath in the body. So just where are you aware of the breath in your body this evening? So it's the movement, the texture, the sensation of the breath. Perhaps you can feel it sort of in your face, the top of your lip, and your nostrils. If your mouth's slightly open, you might be able to feel the air entering and leaving your throat and your mouth. Maybe you can feel the movement in your chest, the rise and the fall of the chest on the in and the out breath. What's the temperature of your breath like? You're aware, perhaps if you are focusing the sort of nose, mouth area, you're aware of any temperature there of the breath as it enters and leaves the body. For me, the breath feels warm and quite sort of comforting on the in-breath. Feels quite rhythmic, calming. Okay, so let's move our attention up to the top of the head, right to the scalp. Let's see if we can find any sort of telltale signs of movement of the breath within the body. We're such a big sort of bunch of processes, if you like, going on. There's movement all the time. So let's just start at the very top. Is there any sense of the breath and the in and the out, the expansion and the contraction? Any sense of this in the head area, maybe? Then allowing your attention to sink down into your face. So the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the skin of the face, eyebrows and the temples. Is there an awareness there in this area of the movement of the breath? I can sort of feel my whole head filling up with air. I suppose it's my sinuses. There are sort of spaces, aren't there, within the head, the nasal cavity where the air comes in. You be aware of that at all. Or maybe within the throat and the mouth, maybe you can feel the air entering and leaving there. And moving down through the neck, into the shoulders. How do you find your shoulders this evening? Is there any subtle sense of holding maybe? Do they feel slightly raised or tight? If so, you can maybe imagine yourself breathing into your shoulders, sort of massaging them from within, allowing them to release, allowing them to let go. How do you find your breath in this area? Does it feel light and sort of shallow and high up in the chest? Or does it feel like it's gradually calming and slowing and sort of deepening? The breath's always changing. There's no right or wrong. And all we do in meditation is we just observe what we find. So I'm not asking you to actively try and do anything with the breath or change anything. Just literally seek out what's here for you in this moment and then the next moment. And just observe that. When we do this, when we become aware of the sensation and activity in our body, it sort of takes us out of our heads, out of our thinking mode, out of planning or zooming ahead or looking back. We just end up being in the present with our body in the here and now. That's really the essence of meditation. It doesn't involve any doing or trying, really. Okay, so allowing your attention to pour down now through the shoulder joints, down through the arms on either side of the body. So down through the upper arms, through the elbow joints, into the lower arms, down into the hands, the fingers, the thumbs. What sensations are you aware of in these two limbs of yours, these two arms? Perhaps you can feel the cloth of your top. You might have your night clothes on, you might have your pajamas on, maybe you can feel the sleeves. Maybe you can feel the temperature on your hands and your skin. Is there any awareness of the movement of the breath maybe in your shoulder joints? I think it's very easy to sort of tighten the arms and try and hold on and grasp with the arms and the hands. So if you find that you're doing that, just becoming aware of it, and in the process, your body might soften, let go. It might not. You're aware of any subtle sort of movement, expansion and condensing on the breath, on the in and the out breath in these shoulder joints as you breathe. The chest moves up and down, the rib cage expands out and in. Can you feel this movement perhaps transferring into your shoulder joints and a sort of echo in your arms? A rippling outwards of the breath into the limbs. Okay, so allowing your attention now to flow back up through the wrists from the hands, back up the arms, into the shoulder joints, and then round the back, down into the upper back. So that whole thoracic cavity of the back, which houses the lungs. Can you feel any sort of dynamic movement here maybe? The surface beneath is making direct contact with the back. So maybe you can feel a subtle sort of change in pressure on the in and the out breath. Just give you a few moments to see if you can sense any movement here. And if you can sense any movement, how does that make you feel? Maybe it feels soothing, calming. The breath is a process. It's a continuous process, and movement doesn't stop. It can be such a fantastic place to rest our attention. So we find we're really lost in thought or lost in sort of strong emotions. We feel we're perhaps being swept away or just getting faster and faster. We can just allow our attention. We can allow our attention and remind ourselves that we can just return to the breath. We can just rest our attention on the breath, on those movements. We can anchor our attention, if you like, to the breath and to that movement. That can feel very calming. Okay, so allowing your attention now to gently descend downwards into the lower back, the lower spine, down into the buttocks, what the sacrum is, the back of the pelvis, the hip joints. So what sensations can you feel here? Once again, it's another area where we can clench, like the shoulders. We so often tense them. The buttocks similarly can do it without even realizing. So maybe imagining, breathing into the buttocks, like a soothing breath, just allowing the whole bottom of your torso, your whole bottom, if you like, just to release onto the surface beneath if you're lying, or if you're sitting in a chair, into the chair below. Maybe you might feel a sort of a similar releasing in the rest of your torso above, if you release at the very base of it. Okay, so now allowing the attention to sink down further, down deep into the thighs, so the long, strong muscles of the thighs. Then down into the knee joints, those intricate knee joints that work so well at supporting us when we're standing. Allow those joints, those knee joints, to be free, supported. There's nothing for them to do now. And then down into the calves, the bony shin at the front, the fleshy calf, the fleshy muscle at the back. And then the feet, the ankles, the heel, the soles of both feet, tops of the feet, and then the toes on either foot. Is there any sort of hint or echo or subtle suggestion of the breath, like this far away from the torso, this bottom half of the body? I'll just give you a moment. Maybe you can feel it sort of rippling downwards, or maybe just even an idea of the breath down there. sort of reverberation, if you like, from the main sort of diaphragm and lungs, sort of traveling down throughout the rest of the body, right down to the tips of the toes. Okay, so let's become aware now of the whole expanse of the body. So the feet, the legs, the torso, the arms, the head. Just feel the whole entity of the body as one, whole cloud of sensation, cloud of movement, movement of the breath. The process of the breath. As it massages and rocks and cradles the body, soothing it from within. Okay, so I'm going to bring this meditation to an end now. So if you have had your eyes closed or your gaze lowered, you might just want to raise your gaze or open your eyes and take in your familiar surroundings. Just sort of cueing yourself back in, if you like, out of that meditation and just back into your environment, back into your space. You might find introducing some movements might help with this. Maybe rubbing your hands together or having a bit of a stretch. I'll just give you a few moments before I start the next meditation. Just to maybe change position, have a sip of water. In fact, I think I will. Okay. So I'll start the second meditation now. So once again, if at any stage, you want to stop the meditation, by all means do so. So feeling that surface supporting you, be it the bed, the sofa, the chair. Feeling the weight and the shape of the body. Maybe imagine tracing, your eyes, imagining the perimeter of your body or feeling into the perimeter of your body. Is it possible to feel the edges of your body? Right at the edge. What's that sensation like on that perimeter of your body? How much of it perhaps can you feel at once? So can you feel into your legs and into your arms and your chest at the same time? Okay, so I'm going to create a little scene now, and I'm going to be using some water imagery hence my backdrop. I'm going to ask you to be imagining a yacht. But if you're not keen on boats, then by all means, you could imagine maybe a big cruise liner or a big ship. That might work better for you. Whatever type of sea vessel, if you like, that makes this work for you. So I'm going to lead it as though there's a majestic yacht. It's been out on the open sea. And it's just entering into sort of like a bay. And there's like a whole sweep of a beach. So you're just entering this sort of amazing, sort of protected sort of cove, if you like. The sun's streaming down. So it could be, say, the Mediterranean or the Caribbean. And the boat is sort of gradually slowing as you're going to be dropping the anchor soon in this bay. So maybe imagine yourself lying on the deck of this boat. So like a mahogany deck, like a lovely wooden varnished deck. You could feel the sun on your skin, sort of soothing you, comforting you, soaking into your body. Temperature's just right. So really allow that warmth of the sun just to allow you to feel sort of comforted and really relaxed on this amazing yacht. And then as you lie here, you hear the anchor being lowered. So you can hear the chain of the anchor, but you can also feel it through the boat beneath you. You can feel the sort of gentle reverberations of the anchor as it sort of unwinds. That feels really soothing as you feel the anchor being lowered. And then you feel it gently touch the ocean floor. That movement stops. And the boat, although there's movement and the water, sort of there's very gentle waves, the boat feels secure. It feels held by this anchor. So it's a fact. I read somewhere when I was researching this meditation, to do this meditation, that boats, they tend to turn the front of themselves, so I think it's the bow of the boat turns into the wind. So let's imagine in this bay, there's a wind, there's like a gentle breeze, and it's sort of touching the boat and it's making the boat sort of turn into it. And then the breeze changes direction just ever so slightly, and the front of the boat just moves round. So it's just gently sort of gliding around. It's not moving really fast, but just gently gliding around. And it's quite soothing to be lying on the deck and feeling that movement of the boat. And then feeling the sort of the ripples of the water as well, as the boat sort of stops before it moves again. Sometimes it can move sort of to the side, and then another way, another direction, but then you feel that gentle tug of the anchor. And then you remember that, of course, the boat has been anchored, so it's sort of, it's not held in one place, but it's definitely, you know, it's not going to be drifting off, if you like, drifting away, held by this anchor. So this meditation is actually called the breathing anchor. And the idea of the boat is sort of working as a symbol or as a metaphor, if you like, of the breath. So the anchor has been lowered and the boat is sort of moving around. So you could perhaps compare the movement of the boat to be like the movement of the breath. Because the breath isn't still, it's always, as we discovered in that previous meditation, it's always moving. And likewise, this boat is always moving, but equally, it's also anchored. So I suppose we could make a parallel, or we could imagine the breath being like this boat. It's a place that we can return to, a place that we can bring our attention back to when the wind sort of moves our thoughts. So, yeah. You could imagine the winds being like the mental events in our minds, and they're sort of trying to push us, pull us into them, seduce us, if you like, even. We're being moved around like this boat. But actually, when we bring our attention back to the anchor, back to the breathing anchor, back to the breath, the process of the breath, then we can just let those thoughts sort of drift on by. It's like the sails have been taken down on this boat, and we can just let the winds of our minds, or the winds of our thoughts, the worldly winds, just pass on through. And we can just return our attention each time it wanders. We can just return it back to the breath, the process of the breath, to the breathing anchor within us. So I'll just give you a few moments. I spent a little energy creating that image and trying to flesh out that metaphor. So I'll just let you have a few moments just to imagine yourself lying on that boat, feeling that anchor, feeling the movement, but also being aware of your breath and the movement of your breath. And then if you find that your thoughts have sort of taken you on a little journey and you've drifted off, just coming back to that movement. So that might be movement in the chest, movement at the back, where you can feel your back contacting the surface beneath and that change in pressure. Or it might be the breath, or the nose, or the mouth. Okay. I'll just give you a few moments now. So every time the mind wanders, if it does, you find that you're thinking about something, just gently, if it works for you and it feels right, just bringing your attention back to the breath, back to where you can feel it most vividly in your body. So the soothing, calming, restorative breath, encouraging us to soften our minds, soften our thinking processes, soften our muscles, soften our feelings, soften our hearts and our emotions. Maybe softening into a sense of sort of self-kindness and care towards ourselves. You've dedicated this time to meditate and to sort of invest in yourself, if you like, your self-care. It's just feeling some care and sort of tenderness and kindness towards yourself, maybe, as you focus on the breath, the kindly breath, the tender breath. Every time your mind wanders, just like a good captain is steering the ship or steering the boat, just steer your attention back to that breath, that anchored place within you, where you're anchoring your attention. No thinking's necessary there. Just following the in and the out breath. Calming, soothing. Rhythm. Okay, so I'm just going to share some music with you now. Just as you rest here. With the breath. Okay. So I'll be bringing this meditation to a close in a minute or so. Just giving yourself just a bit of time just to rest here. Just to feel soothed, relaxed, supported. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just being in your body. Just being at one with your breath. Okay, so without sort of losing touch with your breath, if you have made contact with it at some stage this evening, allowing it to be there and maybe just moving your attention sort of to the weight of your body. So having an awareness of your breath in the background of your mind, if you see what I mean, moving that to the background, to the back. It's been at the forefront of your attention, possibly. Now just imagining or allowing that to move to the back and just bringing the awareness of your weight into the foreground of your attention. So if you're lying like me, that'll be the whole weight, the back of your body. You're feeling those points of contact, the head, the back, buttocks, legs. And then opening your eyes just gently if they've been closed, just letting in the light, the colours, different shades. So maybe they're shadows from lights in your room or in your space. Just having a little look around you. Just coming back into the here and now, this space that you're in. Maybe adding some movement in, maybe rubbing your face gently, your neck or your shoulders. Giving yourself maybe just a little gentle massage. Feeling the skin of your face. What's that feel like? What's the sensation like? So all the while when we're aware of sensation, we can't actually be thinking. It's like a really handy hack that we can actually be aware of sensation in our body, and then we don't have the bandwidth to think at the same time. So yeah, it's always a great place to go to if you feel too much in your head. Okay. So I'd just like to finish off with a final thought. It's just got a couple more minutes. So yeah. So it might be useful to remember that our breath acts as a barometer to let us know how we're feeling. A bit like the barometer, lets us know what the weather's doing. Good old-fashioned barometer. The breath can act as a barometer to let us know how we're feeling. So like we did in the breathing body scan earlier, we can always take a few moments to tune into our bodies to see where we can feel the breath showing up for us. And in so doing, we can allow it to calm and soothe our nervous systems. So it might be through sensing into the gentle movement of the breath in the front of the chest, or maybe at the sides, sort of, where the rib cage meets the underarms, the inside of the arms. You might feel the movement there. Or you might feel it in the back of your body, especially if you're lying down. You might feel the movement of the breath there, and that change of pressure. Or you might feel the breath just sort of in this area, your nose or your mouth, the top of your lip, where the air surrounding us becomes the breath. So there's lots of different locations. Focus in on it. Okay, so I'd just like to end just by sort of drawing attention to the fact that all of the support, that Ellie's gift gives to you guys, it's all done freely. And it's all sort of based predominantly on the kindness and the generosity of folk giving contributions and making donations towards Ellie's gift. So this year, Ellie's gift in 2025, it really wants to focus on getting leaflets into hospitals to those who really need the support, when they're there. So it would be really appreciated, if it was at all possible, if you could make even just a small donation, either going to the Relax with Lucy website. There's a button there you can click on. Or I think even in the email reminder that you would have got today, there's now a donate link in there. So you could go there, maybe just clicking on there and making a small donation. It would really help sort of Lucy, carry on her amazing work with the app and everything, the website, the Facebook page, the groups. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. Okay. So I'll be back in a couple of weeks. It'll be Angela next week doing this session. I've really enjoyed this hour with you. And if you haven't been here now, then if you're tuning in on the recording, I hope you find it really soothing and relaxing. Okay, take care, everyone.